Good day, it's Constantine. This is part 2 of the SE-02 tutorial. In this one, we will have a look at the sequencer. To choose sequencer mode, you simply put the switch to the middle. Now the SE-02 has a 16-step sequencer. Each button is a step. You can store up to 128 patterns. Now as you can see, the manual button also has a stop and play icon. If I press this in this mode, it will start a sequence. But right now it plays the sound we have created in manual mode. To browse through the presets, either use the value knob or simply just type it in. Now as you can hear, each preset will have its own sequence and its own paths, and this goes for all 128 presets. Now if you don't want to use the pattern of the sequencer, you can clear it. Let's say that we are in 45 and I don't want to use that. So I press note and gate together. I bring up the sequencer settings, and then step 9, the red one, is clear. I press it, press the value knob, it'll ask me if I want to clear it. I press it again, and now the sequence is clear. So if I press play, nothing will play back. Again, the little dot next to the number tells us that we are not using the original preset. Now, as I said before, each pattern comes with its own sound. If you want to use a preset from the patch mode, simply switch to patch mode and load the preset that you want. Let's say that we want bank B preset 32. Okay, and then switch back to sequencer mode. Now let's look at all the settings. When I press the comp button, I can assign which steps will have notes by clicking them. Now if you want to change the note that is assigned to the step, just press and hold. Right now everything is C4, and if I hold it down, I can see what note we have. I can either use the value knob or my keyboard to change the note. So this is an E4, A4, or I can just simply use the keyboard. Now if you want to enter the same note on multiple steps, you hold down the steps that you want and then turn the value knob. You can't use the keyboard for this one. Now all of these will be A4. Now another way to input notes is hold perform and press note, or either do the live recording. Let's try the live recording first. So you press perform and then press the play button. Now the sequence will start, and you can use the value knob to turn on the metronome and adjust the volume of the metronome. And the other way is to hold perform and then press note. And now it will start blinking. And as I press the keys on my keyboard, it will move the next step. So. I'll take the tempo down a bit. Okay, now let's have a look at the other buttons. Next to note, we've got gate. Gate adjusts the gate time, essentially how long the note will be. Now gate values go from 1 to 100. It's probably everything's 50 now. Again, as with the note input, you can add gate time to multiple steps. Press and hold the steps that you want. If you go above 100, then you can input a tie for a smooth connection between the steps without a glide. Okay, let's make the first 3 very short and then the next ones longer so you can hear the difference. Let's go all the way to 100. let's put a tie here. So as you can see, these are very short. Let's try a bit somewhere in the 20s. Okay, next to that we've got glide. Now this is different from the glide control up here. This will always be applied when we play around in patch mode. In the step sequencer, we can choose the steps that will have glide. Just press on the steps that you won't have glide and they will light up. And then simply choose how much glide you want by adjusting the glide up here with the glide knob. Next to that, we've got PRM, which stands for parameter. Now this allows you to use any of the knobs to assign a parameter to a particular step. Now only one parameter can be stored in each step. The steps that already have a parameter will be lit. Now to enter a parameter, you hold down the step that you want and you simply move any of the knobs or switches that you want. Now let's use the filter to demonstrate this effect because it's quite obvious. Now once we assign a parameter to a specific step, it will continue to be applied for the remaining steps in the sequence. For example, if I use the cutoff filter at step 1, so press on it and bring it down, you can see the value that I have on the screen. Now this will continue until step 16. If I don't want that, I will have to take it off at some point. For example, I can bring the cutoff up at step 8. So I hold down step 8 and just bring it up again. So now what's happening is the cutoff runs from 1 until 8 and then it will start following the other parameters that I set. Now let's put it a bit higher. Let's try a few others as well. Let's say that in step 9 I want some feedback. And then I want to take it off at step 12. And then let's say that I need some noise, step 14. And then I take it off at step 16. What if I want some delay here? And then take it off at step 11. Let's see what we've got. Now, if you want to erase a parameter from a specific step, you hold down parameter and then just click on the step. So right now, this is deleted. If you want to delete all the parameters, simply hold down parameter and turn the value knob. It will say off and it will delete everything. Now, next we have the perform settings. And this is how the sequence will play back. Now, steps 1 to 6 change the note value. So we've got 16th notes, 8th notes, quarter notes, 16th note triplets, 8th note triplets, and quarter note triplets. Let's go back to 8th. Let's go back to 16th notes. Now 7 is empty and 8 adjusts the shuffle or swing if you come from the DAW world. Let's use 8th notes to make it more obvious. Of course, you can go to negative as well. Nine to 12, you set the direction of the sequence. So 9 will only move forward. 10 will move backwards. 11 is back and forth. And 12 is random. Now 13 is empty, and 14 and 15 adjust the first and last note of the sequence. For example, let's say I press 14, I want the first note of my sequence to be step 3. So I'll use the value knob, and I want the last step of my sequence to be, let's say, step 11. And 16, adjust the tempo. Now lastly, everything we have created will be lost once we turn off the synth. You can save a sequence, but it will be saved together with the selected paths, meaning the sound. To save it, you simply press the value knob, it'll start blinking. Either use the value knob to choose the number that you want, or simply type it in, say 67. Then press the value knob again. I'll ask you, are you sure? If you want to go ahead and save it, press the value knob again, and if you've changed your mind, simply press exit. Okay, let's have a look at the sequencer settings. Now, I can't properly demonstrate the settings because I lack the hardware to do so, but I will tell you what the settings are. Now, a very likely scenario could be that you have another synthesizer and you want to connect it with the SE-02. So you connect your synthesizers, let's say via a MIDI cable, you choose the same MIDI channel for both, and now you can process the sound from the other synthesizer with the SE-02, for example. Or you can use the sequencer of the SE-02 to sequence the other synthesizer you have connected to it. So essentially you use the sequencer of the SE-02 and the pattern you have created, but use the sound of another synthesizer. Now, in order to do that though, you need to enter the sequence settings. So to do that, you hold down Note and Gate. And the first step is where you can choose the destination of the sequencer. We've got internal, external, and both. On step 2, we have sequencer sync. Again, not the best example, but I'm going to use my key step to show you what this does. Essentially, you can sync the SE-02 to an external device and start the sequence on the SE-02 from the other device. So my options are internal, MIDI, USB, and trigger. Now, since my key step and SE-02 are connected via MIDI cable, I'll just leave it on MIDI. And as you can see, every time I press play, let's say on my SE-02, it won't start the sequence. But if I press play on my key step, it will start the sequence. Let's go back to internal. And step 3, we have the key trigger option. Now, when it's off, you start the sequencer by pressing the play button. When it's on, you can start the sequencer by pressing a key on your keyboard. And it's not working. Now, if you press a key and it doesn't start, then you need to enter the system settings and change the parameter. Now, let's do that right now. So what you need to do to enter system settings is turn off the synthesizer, hold down exit, and then turn the synthesizer on. So I'm going to turn it off, hold down exit, and turn it on. Now, step 8 is MIDI key trigger. Turn it to on, press the value knob to save it, and then we're back to it. I think we were on preset 37. Yes, so right now I go back to the sequencer settings. Step 3, I go to on, and now when I press a key, it will start the sequence. But as you can hear, no matter what key I press, it's always in the same key. Now, if I want to have it change key, I have to go one step ahead to transpose. So right now it will follow my keyboard.